As you know, today was the budget day of the current government. I have not had a chance to look at the entire details of what the budget the Chief Minister presented. Suffice to say that this being an election year and the elections just a few months away, it is very disappointing to find that there were really no endeavours made by the government, even at the stage, to push anything for job creation or for young people. I think one was expecting that this being the last budget, signing off budget, the Chief Minister and the government of the day will do some repenting of the last 4.5 years. But sadly, this government has remained and does remain still a 40% government, which nationally has become famous for. This 40% tag has not gone away. The way the government jobs are being put up for sale, nothing was done in this budget to curtail those. So they have not been able to wash off the sins of the last 4 years. And I'm sure, like all my colleagues keep saying, the next few months will see a change, a decisive change, and the formation of a Congress government with a thumping majority in the state of Karnataka. Friends, as you're aware, the Indian Parliament, both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, for the last few days, there have been discussions about this very contentious issue of the Adani group and what they have been doing for the last few years. What is actually very discouraging is the fact that in the Indian Parliament, when Congress President Mr. Kharge or our former President Mr. Rahul Gandhi asks certain questions on the floor of the House, those questions are expunged from the records. This has never happened. There is a parliamentary procedure, there is decorum, there is precedent on what can be allowed to be expunged and what can't be expunged. But the way that we are heading, the brute majority that the BJP has in Parliament does not give it the right to expunge the contents or the questions that an honourable member makes on the floor of the House. Sadly, the Prime Minister in his response failed to even answer one single question about the group, its activities, the allegations, the huge loss of public money, the share market crash and the huge devaluation of the group itself. A lot of questions about crony capitalism have come up, government assets being sold for undervalued prices, public finances being misused, SEBI, the Finance Ministry, the RBI, regulatory bodies all watching as this collusion of political power and business interest has taken a toll on public sector undertakings and small investors across the country. It's a very important issue. The entire country wants to ask the question, why is the government of the day shying away from a JPC? A joint parliamentary committee has been formed on numerous occasions previously under a Congress government, under a BJP government. And if the government has nothing to hide, I see no reason why a JPC can't be constituted. And the BJP has majority in the Lok Sabha, so majority members will be BJP. So really, it's baffling for all of us to see why time and again, while the government says we're open for discussion, we have nothing to hide, then why is the government shying away from ordering a joint parliamentary committee on this subject? The government has failed to answer any question. It has shied away and is hiding itself from having a JPC. I think the argument that sometimes our friends from the BJP make, that let the probe happen, let the ED, the CBI, the IT, the authorities probe you, investigate you, harass you, raid you. If you have nothing to hide, open yourself up for investigation. The exact same principle is what we are applying now. If the government and the current dispensation have nothing to hide, why are they shying away from having a JPC? I see no answers coming from the BJP. The Finance Minister, the Prime Minister, not a single leader in the BJP has so far come out with the truth. They have not refuted any of the allegations made by the Hindenburg report or by the millions of young Indians who want to know about their future. Public sector undertakings have assets and money of savings of households in this country. It is the duty, the job, the responsibility and the obligation of the government of the day to protect their interests. Sadly, policies have been tweaked, assets have been undervalued, concessions have been made, and people have used government agencies to drive away competition so that one particular company, one particular group gets all the benefits. It's very disheartening that a government that has been in power for the last 8.5 years with the full majority, is refusing to allow any investigation, and even now, the very weak investigation that they may seem to have agreed upon will just be an open and shut case. We are asking the government of India to open up, to be transparent, to live up to its own commitments. प्रधानमंत्री जी हमेशा बोलते थे ना खाऊंगा ना खाने दूंगा. अभी लाखों करोड़ रुपए जो खा रहे हैं, भाग रहे हैं, इनके लिए वो क्या कर रहे हैं इसका कोई जवाब नहीं है. Long, boisterous speeches in Parliament will not take away from the fact that there has been obvious misgovernance, there has been acts of omission and commission, collusion, and prima facie people of India believe that something is wrong. दाल में कुछ काला है. कितना काला है, किसने काला किया, उसकी जानकारी के लिए एक ओपन ट्रांसपेरेंट प्रोब होना चाहिए. इसलिए भारत के पार्लियामेंट की अगर एक जॉइंट पार्लियामेंट्री कमेटी बनती है, उसके बनने से दूध का दूध, पानी का पानी आ जाएगा. मुझे लगता है कि भारत सरकार को, खासकर बीजेपी को, they must come forward and open themselves up for this sort of a investigation. This is the tenets of our democracy being questioned. When leaders, opposition leaders' speeches are expunged from the parliamentary records, it's unbecoming of a healthy democracy. When questions are not answered, there are no press conferences. पार्लियामेंट में क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं, जवाब मिलता नहीं है. इंक्वायरी आप कराते नहीं हैं, जेपीसी के लिए आप मानते नहीं हैं. आप देश भर में प्रचार कर रहे हैं अपनी ईमानदारी का. तो why don't we have this test and let's have an open JPC probe into the entire investigation. That's what we have been demanding. And I think as Congress party, we believe it is our duty as a responsible opposition to ask the right questions, to ask for transparency, for openness, and for asking the BJP to live up to its own words. I see the Prime Minister and the Government of India failing in all these regards. Therefore, public pressure must be mounted. We as Congress party have tried to come on the streets, upper house of parliament, Lok Sabha, everywhere we are trying to make sure that we speak for the interest of the voters, small investors, households in this country. Because if people are allowed to get away with this, then people will lose confidence in our regulatory systems, in our banking structures, in our financial strengths. So this is the right time where the BJP should come out and have a JPC. Friends, I also think it's important to point out, the Honorable Prime Minister had made a speech recently in Parliament and calling the 2004-2014 a lost decade. उन्होंने कहा ये एक दशक हमने खो दिया. I want to remind him and through you the country, 2004-14 was an era of unprecedented GDP growth. It was an era where 140 million people were lifted out of abject poverty, and we had robust growth in every sector. The economy was doing better than ever before. There was a reverse brain drain, unlike now when high worth individuals, intellectuals, qualified people are leaving the country for various reasons. At that time we had a reverse brain drain. We had economic growth, unprecedented growth before, and India, what it is today, a large part of it is actually the strength we have, the leverage we have, the geopolitical strength India has today, which the current government is taking benefit of. That was really that decade which put India on the global map in terms of our IT sector, our telecom sector, our liberalized economy, and all of our export initiatives that we took at that time. So 2004-14 was also a breakthrough record decade, because not only did we grow economically, liberalized policies, but we also had social sector programs that are paying us dividends today. Right to food security, right to education, right to employment, right to information, right for tribals. All those rights and fundamental issues were taken up by the UPA government, Dr. Manmohan Singh ji. And I think Dr. Manmohan Singh ji has said that history will judge me far more leniently than what is being said about me now. We had the Indian nuclear USD. The BJP actually was opposed to the US nuclear deal. They were opposed to direct benefit transfer. They were opposed to GST. They were opposed to FDI in retail. They were opposed to FDI in defense. And now they're doing exactly the same thing. रात के 12 बजे वो GST चालू करते हैं. DBT हम लोगों ने चालू किया, वो उसका क्रेडिट लेते हैं. हम लोगों ने ब्रॉडबैंड पंचायत में लेकर गए, वो उसका क्रेडिट लेते हैं. And for the last 8 years, what the BJP has done is given a slogan every 2 months: Stand Up India, Fit India, Make it India, Khelo India. Before one is able to take cognizance of what the new last slogan was, एक नया slogan आ जाता है. On the ground delivery is what it is. We have the highest unemployment in the last 5 decades in this country. Highest unemployment. Petrol prices, diesel prices, LPG prices have never seen this increase ever before. And the government is actually curtailing the power and the financial contribution of the state governments. Therefore, the BJP has a lot to answer. I think we are seeing elections in Tripura, Nagaland, Meghalaya, and very soon in Karnataka. So I am of the opinion that the Congress party will do extremely well in these elections. But Karnataka, I just want to add, is a state where the people of Karnataka, this is not just the Congress party, people of Karnataka are looking for a government that works for them. They are looking for a government that does not do polarized politics. They are looking for a government that is their government, that wants to create jobs, that wants to create wealth. Look at this. Look at the situation in Bangalore today, where we are today. What has happened to our city last few years? I mean, this is a government that really has a lot of debt to pay. People will seek that price, and I'm absolutely confident that as and when the Election Commission announces elections to Karnataka, there is no doubt in my mind that not only will we form the government, we'll have a single largest majority ever that the Congress party has secured, and we'll have a government that is for the Karnataka people, and that's all I have to say. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Mr. Pilot, what do you want to say about the kind of the promises which Congress is planning to give for upcoming elections? When you talk about Adani, there are many billionaires throughout the world are condemning, and they are saying that it may push back India to economical crisis. How do you see these kind of?
I just feel that forget about the rest of the world. People of India are asking these questions, and it's not about an individual. It's about the system being misused. It's about the credibility of the institutions that are in question. It is a question what the SEBI is doing, what the RBI has not done. Regulatory bodies that were made for this particular purpose were overlooked. There is certainly a systematic sequence of events which have led to this massive increase in such a short time for a person who was ranked 70th or 69th in the world become number 2. It's, I mean, it begs the question that fine, you can, I mean, a lot of people do well, but was there compliance? Was there connivance? Was there wrongdoing on the part of the banks, the government of institutions, the PS, and the government itself? There are many questions being raised. All we are saying is, without doing a blame game, if the question has come up, the best way to resolve it is to investigate. Let it be a thorough investigation. Let it be a JPC, and the truth shall come out. It is not that the JPC has never been formed before. पहले बहुत बार JPC बना था. But I don't want to go into what others are saying. I just want to speak for the people of India and what the Congress party is asking the government.
So the government has hit back at George Soros this morning also. Right now, Smriti Irani is also doing a press conference that it's an attack on India, that undermining India's might and power, and we will hit back at them. But
I think India's might and power is not resting on the shoulders of one or two individuals. It rests on the 140 crore people of this country, the farmers of this country who have toiled hard, who have got us independence, our forefathers, and the tremendous amount of energy and potential that our people have today. So India's strength is its people and not 4, 5, 10, 20 individuals. So I don't really care what about anyone else is saying.